And tonight on our Great American Panel, he is a nationally syndicated radio talk show host on the Salem Radio Network and partner at the law firm Hewitt Walensky. Hugh Hewitt is back with us. She is a journalist, Fox News contributor. Judith Miller is here. He is a former New York Yankee. I don't know about this Dodger thing, but second baseman Steve Sachs is with us. I'm like, where's your World Series rings? You said you put them away.
Yeah, they're in the closet.
Yeah, my Oscars are in the closet. I got big awards. All right, I'm going to start with you because I suspect we're going to disagree on McChrystal. Tell me specifically why you think he should have been fired.
Article 88.
Oh, come on. This does not. Remember during the Clinton years, proportionality, you know, where's your sense of understanding?
But, Sean, this was the second time he would have been taken to the woodshed. How many trips to the woodshed are we going to have? But when you read the Rolling Stone article, what really got me was not what the aides said. It was the kind of frat boy atmosphere. It was the insulting of the allies.
They are soldiers. What do you expect them to be, saints?
Do we really want to piss off the only people who are out there fighting with us, the French? He says, I'd rather have my ass kissed in a room full of strangers than go to this dinner. That's his job.
Well, to be honest,
Sean.
I got to be honest, that's how I feel. When I get invited to the Washington Correspondents' Dinner, that's exactly how I feel. All right, but in all fairness, you see, you hit the key word, Hewitt, and when Hugh, sorry, that's my father's name, by the way, Hugh, is that it's the aides. There's no specific comment that would rise to the level of a firing that they can cite from McChrystal.
You won't find a JAG lawyer saying this is Article 88. What this is, a disastrous day for the country, a demonstration that President Obama is the anti-Lincoln. He's got malice towards everyone and charity towards no one. Doris Kearns Goodwin, on the cover of the page of the New York Times today, was practically begging the president to exercise some presidential leadership and stop his vendetta against anyone who gets in his face or says anything about him. And he has serially gone after, whether it's George Bush or John McCain or Paul Ryan or Rick Wagoner at GM or anybody who gets in his way or says anything about him, this thin-skinned president goes after him.
You know, that's what I loved during the campaign, because he mentioned me a dozen times, Hugh, which is, as you know, because we're radio friends, that's ratings gold. I'm like, can you mention me a few more times? But you think of some of the great generals, though. You know, Grant, Patton, MacArthur. You know what? That's what generals do. They're leaders. They're strong men. They use salty language. Go watch Patton the movie.
That's right. This guy is not a media wonk. I mean, what they probably should have done is they probably should have had a public affairs officer on staff there to maybe guard some of this, because if you look at the article, there really is nothing that really comes from him. I think what he did was he pretty much took it, you know, for everybody, fell on the sword, and he probably did the right thing. So
I don't think he did the right thing, because I think we're at a critical moment in Afghanistan. This is not good in terms of the world seeing this. I'll tell you what I think was unwise. Don't let Rolling Stone, don't let Time Magazine, don't let Newsweek or the New York Times anywhere near you, except for maybe 15 minutes where you can absolutely control the situation.
But Sean, what does that say about his judgment? What does that say about his judgment?
You know,
he let this happen.
Listen,
he let his aides talk that way.
He is a great general. You know what? I don't expect generals to be PR agents as well.
He's supposed to have a public affairs officer, and he is in charge. It's on his watch.
But that's the point. It doesn't rise to the level of being a fireable offense.
No, it doesn't. History is going to look back at this. This is not MacArthur. This is not McClellan. This is an interview to Rolling Stone, and they took one of our great chess pieces off of the board, and they took another great chess piece, perhaps the grand strategist of them all, David Petraeus, take him away from CENTCOM as confrontation with Iran looms as we wind down in Iraq, and send him to the tip of the spear where we should have a fighter.
And the same Petraeus that was excoriated by Biden and Obama. That's what I found. I'm like, you got to be kidding. You got to agree with that. That surprised you.
Well, it did. And the thing about it is, when do we say enough is with the media? I mean, they're out there trying to fight this war, and you let the media interfere with this and interrupt the whole thing. It's crazy.
Listen, if I had it my way, I will never do, except for my friends on talk radio, or my friends at the Fox News Channel or Fox Business Network, I'm not doing any. I don't want to go on the liberal media, because all they want to do is attack me. I don't care what they think. He shouldn't have done the interview.
He shouldn't. He definitely he shouldn't have done the interview. But more than that, at this moment, when you need your allies and you need a team, I mean, I think what was really disturbing about that article was as the president said, the disunity in the team.
Why fly him across the world to fire him? Why humiliate him?
Yeah, that was the other point. Why humiliate?
In his remarks, the president was very, very laudatory of him.
We gotta.
And he's going to write a great book.
By the way, when you were playing baseball, you probably regretted talking to the media too.
Well, well, here's what you do: 99% of the media you don't trust them, and the other 1% you don't talk to them.
Yeah, if I would. Okay. That's the A-Rod strategy.
That's right.
All right.
You've got to protect yourself.
By the way, Jeb Bush said something that I am so appreciative of that more people should have said. We have more with our great American panel next. And we continue now with our great American panel. All right, he's been president, what, 18 months now? Mm-hmm. How many? You're better at math than me. Finally, Jeb Bush has said something that I've been saying for a long time. When is this president going to stop blaming George W. Bush for every problem he has? Jeb Bush in the New York Times, he also said this, which I like and enjoyed as well. Mm-hmm. He said, by and large, I think the president, instead of being a 21st century leader, is Hubert Humphrey on steroids. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's much newness in spending more money as the solution to every problem. And he also said, stop blaming my brother. Grow up. There's a level of immaturity here. You were sort of referring to that earlier.
I think he has not been gracious to a single opponent. I think he's the least gracious president we've had in the Oval Office for a long time. George Bush was defined by his graciousness towards those who opposed him. He was a good political infighter, but he was not this mean-spirited and this thin-skinned. And I think President Obama's maturity gap to the previous guy is growing.
Yeah.
You know, I found that article interesting in the New York Times because it has Jeb Bush president written all over it. Is this man going to run? He keeps saying no, 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 the way David Petraeus says no, 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 I'm not going to run. What is it about no you don't understand? And yet everything points to Jeb Bush as perhaps the next Republican contender.
But there's a level of immaturity in this president. You know, this is like with General McChrystal, as far as I'm concerned, the first time in his life he didn't vote president. Mm-hmm. He still hasn't gotten it in the Gulf oil spill. You're laughing. He still hasn't gotten it in the Gulf oil spill.
Well, he's, you know, I just think he's a weak commander. You talk about, you know, how he blames George Bush. You see the situation with the Gulf oil spill. Now, he spent 13 days before he ever went down there. I mean, he's let the thing go by. We talk about George Bush and what he did in the aftermath of Katrina. Like, people were blaming him for the actual hurricane.
3 days.
Yes.
3 days, they was excoriated.
And here we have a man-made problem with this oil spill, and yet we don't hear much backlash from the media at all.
You see, 132 days out of this election, when that oil hits shore in larger quantities and then more beaches as it extends around the coast of Florida, potentially if the riptide gets it and takes it up the, not riptide, what's it called? The tide takes it up the eastern seaboard. It's going to
Gulf Stream.
The Gulf Stream, okay. All right, we have Obama's energy secretary once said that BP will help save the world. Let's roll this tape.
There's been a lot of excitement that's been growing over the last several years, and now with partnering with BP, we will have the resources to actually carry out some of the things we want to do in order to help save the world.
And so how are we going to save the world?
Well, we're going to save the world in part by doing something about the energy problem, and this impacts national security, this impacts economic prosperity, and most important for me, this impacts stewardship of the environment.
Oops. Reaction?
Well, I just want to know if Obama had given back the $900,000 that he took in the campaign from BP. I don't know if he did.
Largest recipient of BP money in 20 years.
Yeah. So you'd think that he gave the money back. It'd be interesting to find out if he did that or if he in fact used it.
I think he's going to give it back as soon as he gives back the Goldman Sachs money.
Look, come on. Every Republican and Democratic president has been in the tank to the oil industry.
Excuse me.
We cannot get ourselves away from big oil. Let's not pretend that this is just one administration.
Obama regulators, Hugh, you know what? They had a cozy relationship. They were receiving gifts. They didn't do the proper inspections. You know,
And they still continue to fail. Just yesterday, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service stopped the construction of the berms in Louisiana because they didn't like the calculation. The president is in charge of the executive branch. They are not doing all they can to keep that oil offshore. And it's not BP's fault that that berm isn't being built.
Real
It's
quickly,
the president's
what
fault.
is the political fallout in the midterm?
It's disastrous, and I think that Nancy Pelosi knows it. Today she was putting out the alert. It is going to be a tsunami because people do not like the direction he's taking.
She goes, don't worry about the subpoenas that are coming. Quick.
Why don't they waive the Jones Act and let the people
exactly.
come in? We've had 21 different times that we were offered from 17 different countries, and yet there's no aid there.
Guys, great panel tonight. Honestly, appreciate it, except for Judith. Kidding.